What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another Trans Am video. So today's an exciting one. We are actually going to get this thing out of here and on his first test drive. Even if it's just a quick little zip around the block, she's going to be on the ground and moving, or at least attempting to move on her own power today. Today we need to get the cooling fans hooked up. I want to get the heater box back in so I have some kind of heat on the test drive. We got to get all the lights and stuff hooked back up. At least bolt the fender on, maybe put the splash shields back in. Probably want to get the hood on, assuming it's going to close with that throttle body sticking up. And yeah, for the interior, I think we're pretty much there. We got a seat in there, that's good enough. So first of all, the passenger side headlight here, I had this sitting on the ground for a while when I first tore this car down, and I stepped on it and broke that little ear off there for one of the hinges. So I got some JB weld. We're gonna try to glue that together. These things are going for like $200 on eBay. It's like stupid. I don't have a junkyard nearby. I can't try to go pull one. This is just like shitty pot metal. At least that's what it looks like. So I don't think I could really weld that in any way. The other thing we need to do is fix the heater box that I broke with my ass. You can see we're making progress on our list. Pretty much everything that's not crossed off that I just mentioned, that's what we need to do before we could drive this thing. Yeah, wiper motor would be nice. Stereo, T-top seals. Hood, it's on this side, but I'm gonna actually, that's going on the drive list today. And yeah, we'll eventually get to this stuff. I guess it's just those two bolts there. I wanna remove the headlight itself from the lower bracket. That way I could glue that thing on with nothing attached, so there's no weight on it. I think it's that. And then we have some Torx screws going to the side. Got two 10s hiding under there. I guess that's good. I could probably just leave that linkage on there. Just want to be able to, yeah, you know, be able to position that and get a nice glue on it. All right, so I think the best course of action for this is going to be to bolt or screw the top of this back on. That way we know that this is all squared up and it'll kind of like sort of hold it together. Because this too, it's kind of a clean break. I mean, there are some pieces missing. This here I marked out because I was initially, I was gonna cut this out to make clearance if I have to pull the head in the car because it's really tight, but even cutting this out, it's still gonna be tight. So I'm just gonna leave this alone. And worst case, you know, if I ever gotta pull the heads or do anything to it, we just gotta pull the AC box out, which is not a big deal. I mean, we gotta drain the refrigerant, but I'd rather do that in the future than do this now. Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't have to be meshed together super tight because we are going to be using the, we're going to be putting the mat in there anyway. First of all, we got to bolt the master in because whoever engineered this fuel system didn't take into account the master cylinder is going to be in the way when it comes to actually turning the little Allen key to adjust the pressure. Actually, no, I think I put, yeah, I did the rear brakes on this. I think I put new wheel cylinders in this thing. Pretty sure. So it should come loose. But just for good measure. Like nothing, look at that. And we already got some flow to it. Now I do have one of those fancy Harbor Freight vacuum bleeders that I picked up not too long ago. You can see that's where it resides right now. Yep. And I mean, that's good if, yeah. However, I still prefer the very simple method of using a one-man bleeder. And the way this works, we just submerge the end of this hose in some brake fluid. We connect that to our line, to our bleeder port on the car. And then all you gotta do is pump away. Literally just crack the bleeder and pump and pump and pump and pump. You don't need somebody to hold and pump and hold and do all that BS, because as long as this is submerged in the fluid, it's never gonna suck air back in, because all the air is gonna come through, bleed out the top, and there's always gonna be fluid in the line. So this is by far the easiest way to do it. It's also pretty satisfying because, especially on an old car where you have a bunch of like dirty ass brake fluid, you could see the filthy stuff come out. And as you dump this and keep going, you'll see it start to clear up, and you know that wheel is good, and you can move on to the next one for your flush. We'll just get this on here. The bleeder's already cracked. Nice fit. Make sure that's all the way open. Now I'm gonna leave you guys behind, and I'm just gonna pump away. And you should see some air and this fluid start to rise up. All right, I think that's good. On to the next. Now, unfortunately, my battery died, but all four corners are bled, and she feels like she has brakes. I'm gonna go ahead, start her up, give the pedal a few pumps, see how she feels with the vacuum on it. She takes a little time to start, doesn't like the cold. Like I said, it's not tuned yet, needs some more fuel on startup. I don't have my laptop with me, so just sit back, watch me crank it like 5 or 6 times until it finally stays running. Ugh. Whew. Feels pretty good. Hey, it actually worked. It's been cold, like in the 20s the last few days, and it would just fire up for a second and then die, and fire up and die until it got a little heat in it. But we're like in the 40s today, so I guess it's all right. Yeah, it doesn't feel bad. All right, so it's the next day. I just got finished cleaning up the AC box. It actually worked pretty well, just putting the resin on that crack. It's decently strong, at least good enough for us to get some matting on here, some fiberglass mat to kind of reinforce a little more. For the headlight, it's still a little bit sticky, which is weird because you can't like scratch it off like it's cured, but your fingers stick to it. But that also seems to have taken pretty well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put another coat on here. It's probably because it's like freezing cold in the garage at night. I pretty much got everything covered. Now I just want to come in here and kind of reinforce just along the crack, because I do not feel like having to make this look pretty. So my plan is just to apply a bunch on the inside. All right, so for the fans, I kind of know the LT stuff is a little bit different from the LS, so I kind of went out of my way to make like a whole harness and relay center and run ground wires from the relays into the car, expecting to run them to the PCM, just like you would do with regular LS swap, high and low, you know, ground triggers. PCM would see the temperature, ground, the relays, and your fans turn on. None of that's gonna work with this car, because apparently on the LT stuff, they use pulse width modulation to control the fan, so everything has to be canvas and stupid and annoying. So we can't just send a ground from that PCM to turn the fans on. So to speak into PSI conversion, I picked up this thing, just an aftermarket fan controller. We just got to mount a temp sensor somewhere on the motor, probably just going to stick it right in here. Run this inside the car. We'll run those two ground wires I already ran straight to this. This will ground high and low based on that temperature. And here's where I put the relay center. This is just like a generic Amazon relay center. Got a running to both fans. One's wired high speed, one's wired low. Pretty much the same way they're wired like in a Tahoe or something. That's where I took the diagram from. And if you see, because I don't think I actually showed you guys this. So we have high speed, low speed, keys on, ground low speed. Fans are running, don't know if you can hear that. Ground high speed. We got high speed. All right, so we are like pretty much there. The fans are hooked up. Still got to test them, but mechanically this thing is, it can actually like drive now and not overheat or potentially explode after we top the transmission fluid off. But let me show you what I did here. I decided to mount the control box for the fans in the back of the car. So I just extended the temp sender wires, ran them in the car, extended them back. I took 12 volts ignition out of here, the old body harness, extended that to the back. High and low fan triggers that I showed you guys, extended those to the back. And then I also ran an AC wire. So for anybody who's wondering, the green, light green wire right there on the back of the AC controls, that gives off 12 volts when the controller is in AC mode. So max, normal, bi-level. Vent and heater, it does not, because that's not using the compressor. And defrost, that's gonna give out 12 volts. So I ran that to the back of the car, just tapped into it, and that's gonna actually signal this thing to turn the fans on, telling it the AC is on. I took the ignition 12 volts, plugged that into here with a fuse tap, so, well, not a fuse tap, a fuse holder. We need to put a 5-volt fuse in there as per the instructions. Then I just took battery power directly from the fuse block here where the fuel pumps are, gotta put a 5-volt fuse in there. Ran the ground for both the sensor, temp sensor, and this box down to the frame there. And then the signal wire for the temp sensor is connecting in there. And I think that is everything. There's battery power, so let's see if this thing comes to life when we put the key on. Perfect. We're getting an error. Dude, I'm already seeing a freaking problem because I'm looking at this. And right now, with the, even though there's like a sensor error for some reason, the fans are, they're like, as a failsafe, the fan will turn on and run continuously if the sender is disconnected. So it's not getting a sender signal for some reason. But only one fan is running. So that probably means I gotta go over my wiring diagram, but I might have to friggin' rewire the relays up there to use their high-speed diagram because I didn't know I was gonna be using this stupid box. All right, so it was a few days later. I kind of messed around with this, did a little research, and figured out, like everything else in the world, the module uses Bluetooth and an app. So after figuring that out, and that error that we've been getting, I thought it was saying sensor error. It was actually saying set error, and that's because the unit wasn't in setup mode. So after holding down the setup button, you turn the key to on, and then release the button, it goes into setup mode. You can make changes with the app. So I got the fan speed set. Low speed's coming on at like 195, high speed's coming on at like 207, I think. You really gotta fine tune it, like see where the car wants to be, what's the lowest temperature the fans will pull it down to, and then you can kind of, you know, tweak them from there. I learned that with my Camaro. But we're pretty much good to go now. So I'm gonna put some gas in the tank. I got HP tuners going here. We're gonna data log because we wanna set the Dakota Digital to the temperatures that the PCM's actually reading. So the fans are actually accurate with what the computer's seeing. I gotta drop the hatch or the garage door is gonna hit it. God, I have so much crap back here, man. God. Woo, we spilled a little, huh? Now we're moving. Get a little air in that can. That's it. Oh yeah, I forgot to even show you guys. I got the hood on. I forgot the friggin' struts, the support shocks in the storage unit, so kind of got to do it like that for now. And the hood does hit the throttle body. It just barely kisses it right there. So I don't know what I'm gonna do about that. I might be able to just clearance the hood right there. I still don't know if that's gonna be enough. Or I'm gonna have to like move the throttle body or try reclocking it. I don't know, that's a new issue though. I knew that was gonna come back and bite me in the ass. Don't mind the noise, that's just the heater. We're not even getting anything on this. Let me disconnect and try again. There we go. .42 psi oil pressure. Our intake air temperature is 28 degrees. That's about right. Coolant temperature is 54 degrees. So I'm just gonna wait, let this thing warm up. Get that, we'll wait till that gets around like 190, 195, and we'll see if those fans come on. If not, we're gonna have to tweak the settings. Check it out, we know our gas gauge is working. I put 5.5 gallons in it. I think these are, they're 15-gallon tanks, I believe. So that looks like it's working pretty good. Oil pressure's reading. Coolant should start coming up. Alternator's charging. RPM, the speed and the RPM isn't hooked up yet, so I still got to make those connections. She's a little lean at idle. I mean, there's not much we can do right now. We can adjust those two cells where we're idling, but we're really not going to do much to this till it's actually out and driving. We can fill this chart and then make the fueling adjustments. We got some heat in the hose. We're currently at 192 and 194. I believe it was 195 or 197 I have it set at. It's 196. Oh, we got low speed fan. Oh man, that was like right on the money. So let's wait for it to get a little hotter. And we'll see if high speed comes on. And there they go. All right, man, that sensor's working pretty good in the upper hose then. That's within like a couple of degrees. I don't even need to tweak it. So being this transmission does not have a dipstick, or I'm not running a dipstick, you can either use a dipstick to check the fluid level or use the drain plug. And the way that works is in the drain plug pan, there's a little tube that comes up right in the center of the drain plug. And the fluid, as it heats up, the level comes up and it goes into that tube and then it drains out the plug. So if I pull that plug and a bunch of fluid pours out, it's overfilled. I pull the plug, nothing comes out. We need to top it off till the fluid comes up to that level and just starts coming out. And that's how you set the level on these things. Once that's done, I'm just gonna dial in the base fuel pressure. I think it's a little high, it's in the 80s right now. I just need to turn that nut, get it down to 72. We'll start slapping the body on, see if I can do something about the hood so it doesn't hit the throttle body, either reclock that with an adapter or just cut the hood. I don't know, I haven't figured that out yet. It's kind of a pain in the ass. In other news, our headlight repair is finally fully dry. That seems to have taken quite well. And our heater box actually took really well. So that's fully dry. I'm not even gonna do anything to the outside. It really doesn't look that bad. I'm just gonna sand that a little bit. We'll spray her black, because once this is installed, the whole bottom half of this, you're not even gonna see. It's just gonna be next to the motor. All right, so she's all supported. I went under there and tightened the U-joints that I completely forgot about for the drive shaft. And I pulled the cap for the tank, and there's a lot of pressure or negative pressure in the tank. I don't know why it's not venting. I gotta pull I think I still have the fuel cover off anyway. I don't know if I probably didn't put a vented cap on it yet. I have a vent for, you know, the tank's vented though. I have the open vent on the bottom, so I don't know what's going on with that. I gotta take a look at it later. Another thing for later, not a big deal. But let's go ahead and start this thing up. I'm gonna monitor the gearing on the laptop. You guys will be able to hear me because I'm gonna have my mic on me. And I'll just kind of stick you out here so you can see the wheel spin and see what it does. Ah, the fun part. Oh, God. All right, so I got the laptop in here. I had to put it in neutral to do the drive shaft. Recording, I can see gears. Here we go, first time putting this thing in drive. Let's see if we have reverse. Are the wheels spinning? Well, I'll tell you one thing, we got no back brakes. Brakes do nothing. I probably gotta mess with that proportioning valve. Hold on. The wheels gotta stop so I can put it in park. Ugh, that's gonna be a problem. Park. Reverse. I'm gonna leave it in neutral so I can just throw it right down to drive. All right, we're in neutral. Here's drive. We're moving forward. First gear. Shifted. Shifted. Fourth. All right, we got some kind of shifting going on, but we have no back brakes, which is probably the prop valve, and I can't seem to get this to work correctly. For some reason, it's not telling me the gears that we're in either. So let me bring you guys in here, get this figured out, and we'll try it again. All right, so the further you pull this out, that's more rear brake. I'm just gonna max it out. I think that's how I have it on the Camaro. So I think I need to add a couple of PIDs here. We're gonna add trans fluid temp and trans current gear. We just wanna see if we have all 6 gears here. So we know we got reverse. Ah, crap, we lost connection. Hold on a second. There we go. All right, we got reverse. That's neutral. That's drive. So let's see now. Second. Third. Fourth. Fifth. It shifts faster than the computer can see it. And there's 6th. Now I'm going to let off. Let her come down. Downshift. Beautiful. Foot on the brake. Bring her back up. You really feel that transmission. It gives you a little bump in your ass. Oh yeah, she needs to top off now. All right, we're in. We are in. So now, shite, come on, stand up straight. That's a quart right there. Shit, that's another quart. Oh, that's number 3. I think that's it. We'll run it through, pull the plug again, and if it just trickles out, we know our level's good. If she's dry again, I gotta add some more. So check this out. I found this part online. ICT Billet makes it. It's just a throttle body adapter that allows you to clock it wherever you need to. You can pretty much mount it straight up like that if you wanted to. But I already played around with this. I marked the 2 special holes. And if we mount that there and there, the chunky part of the throttle body fits right in there. There's enough room to get the connector on there. The wire's long enough. And that should allow us to close the hood. Now I do have to cut this down, this adapter kind of right over here, because where the throttle body hangs over, where the motor is, that is physically hitting that, and it's not sitting flat. But once that's machined down, there is enough room that that'll fit in there, and that should solve our problem. I also went and found my new replacement hood supports in storage, so we'll pop those on, and then we'll start getting the front end together. I don't even remember what direction these went. I guess it doesn't really matter. Everything is shit. I don't understand it. How can a simple little stupid part, the stupidest little thing, they can't make right? So if you look at this one, the peg it's a little bit longer. So you can see how loose this is. That's how it's supposed to fit. That just slips on there, and the clip just kind of goes in the little lip there. So it doesn't pop off. The bottom one though, the stud is smaller, and both ends of this cylinder, whatever the hell you want to call it, they're both the same thickness, but on the car, this post is just shorter. So I'm assuming they just use, the OEM stuff uses a better clip, or the end of this might be machined a little thinner, but with these freaking monorail replacements I got, there is no room to get the clip underneath there. Like, it should fit like this. You should have a little slop in there, and it should still be engaged, the clip, underneath the little ridge here. But at the bottom, there was no room for that. So I just completely forced it with a hammer, socket. The hood needs to be aligned. Oof. Well, you know what? I didn't even bolt this fender down yet. Ooh, look at that. That's nice, though. Can we get away with 3 screws? Oh boy, yeah, I didn't even friggin' notice that was passing right through one of the mounting bolts because there's so many damn screws on this thing. Yeah, I gotta take a good chunk of that off. Whatever. That's gonna be just fine. And the wrench still works, look at that. All right, good enough for me. So I know I should be assembling this front end right now, but I can't stop thinking about the rear brakes and how awful they are. I played around with the proportioning valve again. It didn't do anything. Once it's all the way out, it has 0 brakes in the back. All the way in, it barely has brakes. So I think my problem's probably gonna lie in the 4th gen master cylinder. I read some stuff online that apparently you can run into pushrod travel issues if you use like a 4th gen master with a 3rd gen booster. I'm using the same thing in my Camaro, no problems with that car. However, that car has always had disc brakes on the rear ever since I swapped that master in. So I'm gonna go ahead and install probably a very sketchy Dorman 3rd gen master and hope that this fixes all my problems. All right, so the push rods aren't the problem. The offset is, well, that's the wrong end. The offset is pretty much the same, but look how much bigger the piston is on the third gen Master. Yep, that ought to do it. All right, I got it swapped out. The fittings and everything were all the same, so I didn't have to reflare or anything. Look at that. We got rear brakes. Who'd have thought the part that the car was actually designed with, for the rear brakes it was actually designed with, ended up fixing the problem. Finally, Jesus. That's done. That's done. Headlights repaired. Yeah, topped off enough. Oh, that's done. This is one shitty marker, huh? Now that is a job for future Matt, if ever did see one. Now let's just pretend that all is fine with what's holding the bumper on. Well, at least the bumper cover. It's not that important. All right, so I've been messing around with that throttle body off camera, and I finally think I found a solution. So what I ended up using was this Holley throttle body adapter. I bought this a while ago because I thought I was going to need it for this setup, but it ends up not working. And all it does is correct the angle of the throttle body. Being on the car as it pitches down, this just kind of straightens it up. However, it wasn't working when I initially tested it. I think it was still hitting the belt or something, so I didn't use it. I just had it sitting around. However, with this setup and using adapter on top of adapter, having the Holley back here, having the clocking adapter here, we got our motor for the throttle body over here, it actually seems to work. The only issue I ran into doing this was the idler pulley that I had to add to bring the belt down. Being these are truck accessories, this normally isn't here. It was way too big and it was hitting into the side of the throttle body. So I found this 2-inch idler. It's actually from a Sprinter van. The inside diameter where the bolt goes through, it's way larger than this. So potentially this can kind of shift like that around the bolt. But I have it centered, and I think once that's like super tightened down, it shouldn't go anywhere. The only problem now is I have to go and grab a shorter belt because the tensioner is all the way backed off. There's like no tension on the belt. So I'm gonna go see if I can grab one of them. The intake tube does fit. I just have to cut it down a few inches just so it clears the radiator. And I did already check. The hood does still close. See how low these things are. I haven't had air in like friggin' 3 years. Really? My air chuck's dead? Come on, man. Stupidest thing ever. Stupidest tool. Why does Harbor Freight to the rescue? Ooh, she got 24 in her. We'll bring them up to, I guess like 35. All right, last thing I need to do safety-wise, while I haven't get the seatbelt in, we got to get the front turn signals in. Now, I have something really special here. Sept Starbuck from, I have his card here. Oh, I'm holding it. From Starbuck Innovative Designs. He sent me these a while ago, and he also sent me a set for the Camaro that I haven't installed yet. And they are LED turn signal lights for the Trans Am. Now you can see they're clear, but they have an amber light, and I am actually going to spray these amber. I don't know if they sell them as amber, you know, as an option, but I got the clear ones, and I am going to just tape this off, come in here. I got some like amber stained glass paint. I'm just gonna paint that just so it matches the aesthetic of the car more, looks more stock. But right now we're just gonna pop them in because we gotta go on a test drive. We'll take care of that some other time. And he also sent me the mounting hardware, both flashers for the hazards and the turn signals. So these are like digital flashers. And we also have some LED, I guess these are like marker light bulbs. They were going to side markers. But let's just get them popped in. It's pretty simple. The original 3rd gen bulb, this just plugs into that socket. And we pop the flashers in under the dash, and I think that's all we need to do. This just goes in here. Easy enough. Oh yeah, then this goes in here. Nice, look at that. This is the right side, right? Yes. Ooh, look at that. I forgot they freaking did that. All right, that's pretty freaking nice. Let's see if we can get these guys. I mean, we only need one. I just got to get the windows up. I'm not planning on putting them down again unless there are serious fumes. Something that also really, really sucks, I made the fool's mistake of completely covering over the damn seatbelt holes. Completely covered them with the sound deadening, so we gotta discover them. Why is this different? I am not gonna be thwarted by something stupid like freaking brake lights. It's always all the little BS, like, oh, we've came so far, and here we are, messing around with a stupid brake light switch. I mean, I could take it out without brake lights. Here's the blower motor running. Yeah, it's nice that works. Screw it, I'm just gonna cut the wires and just splice them in some way to work with this switch, whatever. All right, I think that's everything. We have heat, AC box, a little bit tight, but you know, there's enough room there where nothing's gonna rub. Verify, we have turn signals, we have brake lights, blower motor's working. I tapped the vacuum right into there. I just used a rubber plug and stuck it in there. Hopefully that holds on. Wheels are tightened. We just gotta air up that back tire, put the gas cap on, bolt the seat belt in once I could get on that side. But right now, let's get it on the ground And let's finally back it outside.
Rise.
Oh shit. Gonna rise, not twist. Ooh, that feels good. As does that. Oh boy, this is gonna be fun. This bitch is high, high, high. Why are you twisting? Stop that. Whoa! She wanted down. My money says the battery's probably dead because I was messing with the taillights. But who knows? I might be wrong. Yeah? Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. Here it goes. Ah. 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 Woo, we gotta get a little video for Instagram, huh? Finally. Here goes nothing. Oh, I didn't turn on the brake, the circuit breaker for the power steering. Ah, whatever. He stops. New video soon. I also got to throw the front plate on it. All right, we got power steering, at least we should. Oh, that feels pretty good. That feels about stock, that electric valve steering. It's a little bit slow to respond. Like it needs to feel the initial hit before it moves. I don't know, there might still be air in it. I never actually bled it with a load on it. That works though. Yeah. Oh. Ooh, bolt. There are some issues. First of all, the 3rd gen seatbelt does not fit the 4th gen belt buckle I pulled out of my Camaro, so I'm just holding my seatbelt my thumb right now, so it looks like I'm wearing one. We're gonna try to just go to the gas station and make it back. The steering is absolutely terrifying. Like, the alignment's fine because I adjusted the toe pretty good, like with a tape measure, and the suspension feels great, but when you go to any input of steering, there's no power steering for like a second, and then it kicks in. Like, I tried to just pull over real quick, and the car wouldn't turn until it waited a second, and then it worked. The transmission feels a little weird. It's like 2nd gear. It shifts, but it feels like it's taking a long time before the clutch is fully applied, almost like it's slipping. It has seemed to get better, but I'm still a little worried about it. Coolant temperature, the gauge, the 3rd gen gauge is reading 220. Oil pressure's great, battery, it's 13 volts. All right, let's just fill her up with 93. Come on, why aren't you reading the interface? HP tuners, what are you doing? I did close the door on the cable, so I don't know if that did anything. Huh. Nope, we got green light. Where'd the OBD port go? Ah, okay, no, we're not bad. We're at 208. Oh yeah, who would have thought the 3rd gen gauge is shit, even when using a 3rd gen sender. We're at 208 for coolant. The gauge is showing 220, it's like whatever. That's normal operating temperature for this engine anyway. At least that's where it is in my Camaro. So if the gauge stays in the middle on 220 in the car, that's kind of where you always want it anyway, like in the middle. Fuel is terrible. Wow, that's rich. Oh wait, no, the wideband isn't hooked up. All right. Trans temp. I do not have, but I really need to do that. All right, let's go get the gas. There was also a pretty good whoosh when I took the cap off, so yeah, something is not venting right. All right, back on the road. At least we have a tank of gas. We can see our temperature now. 208, we can see our fluid temp. This still doesn't fit, okay. That might be drive. I think it's drive. Oh man, the steering, God, that's awful. I will complain about it till the end of the video. Ooh, trans I think is getting better. It doesn't sound as confused. I really gotta get the wideband on this thing. Ooh, she's surging. Oh man, steering, terrible steering. It's almost like it has absolutely no tune at all. It's surprisingly quiet in here, considering there's absolutely nothing in here. Oh yeah. All right, the trans is getting better, for sure. $129, $210 for coolant, not bad. We'll be fine. Something's clunking in the back. People are honking. I have no rear view mirror. Don't know if it's for me or not. I mean, she's mobile. She's moving on her own power. We're legal. We are legal on the road. I mean, aside from the seatbelt fiasco, we have all of our lights. She's registered. She got insurance. She got plates. Got good tires. Everything she needs. She even has a freaking catalytic converter on her, which is working very well, by the way. This car doesn't smell like nearly as bad as my Camaro smells. I mean, it's also not making nearly as much power, but I do feel like it's doing something. All right, guys, so here's the next day. I am standing in the area where the Trans Am used to live. Look at all this space I have now. And I did a little testing. So pretty much I drove the car to a friend's house in Jersey. I got some data. The fueling really wasn't too far off. It was like, for what it was within 10%. It was like 10% lean. So we made those adjustments, but the steering's still an issue, and the transmission, it's doing, I don't know if it's the transmission, it does this weird thing where you come to a stop, the car would like chug, almost like I had a huge cam and just surge, and just like want to go forward. Almost like the converter was kind of locked or something, so I put it in neutral, it would stop. Then I remembered this. So after all like the looking over I did and waiting until the last second to make sure I got the heat working and all that, I forgot to hook the converter lockup wire from the PSI harness here, that yellow wire, to the brake switch. I just did it now. The whole thing where it's kind of chugging when it comes to a stop, I don't know, maybe the converter was locked. Did I do any extensive damage? Who knows? I didn't drive the thing yet. I literally just spliced that into the brake pedal, so now when the brakes are hit, that wire gets 12 volts, like the instructions said. Other than that, when you step on it, it feels pretty good. Like, I got this thing up to like 90, like not even thinking, I wasn't even going hard on it, just like gradually stepping on the gas, kind of merging on the highway. I had to look at the computer because I don't have the gauges hooked up yet. I was surprised how fast I was going. The car feels great, like suspension-wise, absolutely perfect. Alignment really isn't even that bad. But yeah, let's go start this girl up and we'll try to see if that wire did anything for us. Oh, there's also one more little thing that could be an issue. For some reason, the brake pedal, intermittently, it just goes completely to the floor. And it seems like it only happens at low speed when making turns. When I was coming out of the driveway yesterday, did it just completely to the floor, and then I'll pump it again and it'll be fine. When I got to my destination in Jersey, did the same thing when I was making a turn when the wheel was full lock. And then did the same thing again a little later on in the day at the same point when I was making the same turn. Right to the floor, then it comes up. I don't know, dormant master cylinder, possibly. I don't know why it only does it, well, seemingly only does it when I turn at low speeds. That's a little strange. I do need to go and grab a coolant cap because this one will not stop leaking. So we'll stop at the parts store as well. But before we do that, I got one more little touch. Now that I actually drove this thing, I put a good probably like 25 miles on it, and so far everything kind of seems all right. I got one more thing I want to do. Oh, also the alternator. I'm gonna try plugging this back in because this wasn't charging when I first started it up. I think last video or the video before that. So I'm gonna put this in. I don't know if that's gonna make a difference. I got a code for it. But I want to see if it's going to actually charge now, because it wasn't charging when that plugged in for some reason. And just like that, our 5.3 swap became a 6.2 swap. And if you don't believe me, just take it up with Samuel. He built this beautiful 6.2. So I ended up taking the Tahoe to AutoZone because I figured this thing was going to be red hot and not going to be able to swap the cap out. I got a new one. It's doesn't, I mean, it fits. It just doesn't fit as tight as I'd like it to. It does look different from this one though, so at least I'm not like replacing it with the same exact one, but I don't know how much better Duralast is going to be. All right, let's take this thing out. Let it warm up a little bit while I put the tools away. Checking for fuel leaks. I'm currently writing over some tune changes for the fueling, and I realized every time I was writing this is my first time with, you know, a 6L80E. All the 4L60 stuff, there's a PCM, so there's no separate TCM. So I was writing both of these every time, even though we weren't making any changes to the trans. So that was probably why I was having such weird shifting issues, because every time I would rewrite this, the transmission would reset, and then I would have to go like through the relearn of learning all the gears and shit and the shift scheduling or the shift timing. Because the more I drive this thing, the better the transmission feels, until I go to flash it, and then it feels like everything reset, which it makes total sense now. It's still doing that weird thing. It's got to be in the tune. Maybe it's hitting like a weird spot of timing. I don't know. The fueling's not bad. We're getting really close. Like, we're within 5% now, but it's got this super rough, like it's got a huge cam idle in it right now. And like if I'm on the brakes light, the car just wants to pull forward. I throw it in neutral, it takes a second, then the idle kind of comes up and levels out. It's doing the exact same thing it did before, so I don't think that torque converter wire was the issue. Trans is shifting like great now. The fact that it didn't just reflash the TCM again for no reason and reset it, it feels great. Like the part throttle, I'm giving it just like a small amount of throttle. It's like crisp and quick. It's not holding the shift. It's not bogging down like it did before. It was shifting way too early before. I know I'm gonna regret this. Hey, can I just an exterior wash? Whatever the cheapest is fine.
One time, or you want to do the membership?
No, just one time. Also, while I'm waiting in line here, I figured out the power steering thing. Apparently, there's like an Arduino board you could buy that allows you to change the speed of the pump. And apparently right now, it's only at like 70% capacity when it's not like getting a canvas signal. So if I get that board, I could put it at 100%. And it'll give me a little more steering. I don't know if it's going to fix my issue, but it should definitely help. Oh, here comes the rinse. Here's the rinse. Up, I'm wet. That's the door seal. Dude, these things, do these not even leak? Look at that, an LT swap apparently fixes your T-top seals. Oh, dude, that's so much friggin' better. Wow, I can see out the back window now. You ain't got it dry, don't worry about it.
All right.
Thank you.
Have fun.
All right, ooh, look at that. Woo, look at all the light coming in here. She spins. Oh, she spins incredibly easy. I'm barely even putting my foot in it. I'm pretty much just gonna drive around. You wanna get like all the part throttle stuff taken care of. So as I'm driving this, the wideband is recording the actual AFR that's in the tailpipe, and it's creating a chart comparing that to what the commanded AFR is. So part throttle, it's only 14.1. And then what it's gonna do is show me the difference in percentage of what is actually in the pipe compared to the wideband. So right now everything's around like 5 or 6%. Ideally you want it as close to 0 as you could get it. So it's already really close. And then all we're gonna do after is then copy that AFR, like the difference chart with the wideband logged, and I'm gonna paste that percentage, like about half of it, onto the main VE table, and that's going to change the airflow that the PCM is fueling for what the engine's actually doing. And that's pretty much how you get the fueling in. And then after that's done, we can go ahead and do wide open throttle, look at the wideband, because that's gonna command probably around like 12.5. And the same thing compared to what the wideband's seeing, compared to what the computer's commanding, we'll just make adjustments to get as close to 12.5 under wide open throttle as possible. And then from there, you can start messing with the timing. Well, the alternator wasn't charging, so I had to pull over and unplug it. And our engine cover is rubbing on the hood quite violently, so much for looking like I got a 6.2. There's also something in the suspension that's rubbing. I don't know what the hell it is, but yeah, that's for another day. I'm not crazy about the exhaust either. That's gotta go. Okay. Something's clunking. We just gotta drive it more to get some nice witness marks going. Then we can see what was hitting. My money's on exhaust on the frame or on the transmission crossmember. Don't mind me just unbuckling my seatbelt. My guess was correct. The wide pipe's just rubbing on that bolt there. I didn't even think that was gonna come up that close to hit, I guess with the vibration. I'm gonna probably have to just drop that and ding it down at some point. Probably drive it a little more. But the ground clearance has been like great. I thought maybe I put the exhaust a little low, but by taking the easy way out when I made the wide pipe on the other side, but it's actually friggin' perfect. Gotta get in alignment, but I mean, what it is, they're not really, tires aren't really getting scrubbed. I must have got it pretty close with the tape measure. Look at that, who would have thought she would have been outside, man? She's all cleaned up, back in her former glory of looking like a piece of crap. However, she actually has some power now. Even really with not much of the tune done, she still feels freaking great. Height's perfect. I'm glad I kept the stock springs in there. I thought it was gonna come up too high being the motor's lighter because it's aluminum, but it actually worked out really good. Our turn signals look incredible. Of course, we had to get the LTX plate on there to go with the Camaro's LSX. And yeah, we're rubbing. I was able to wipe it away It's a line right, it's barely rubbing on the hood. I had to space this up so it would clear the wires over here. So I think I'm gonna try to take some of the spacers out. If I could just get this a little bit further down, hell, even if I could somehow secure it like that, it'll clear, because it's barely touching. I don't even see a mark on the hood. Like, that's how it's just barely kissing it. But, oh, perfect. Our replacement coolant cap looks good. At some point, I gotta make a box to kind of box this out. And I mean, so far so good. The brakes are holding up. She hasn't dropped the pedal just yet. The other thing that could be happening, like, it's gonna take some time to kind of work through all this, figure stuff out, you know, kind of see what's gonna break, see what's good. But it could be also these lines, they might be getting hot because that one runs down. It's in the factory location, but now we have those headers there. It could be the lines getting hot and boiling the fluid. All right, guys, so that's gonna do it. The Trans Am is up and running. You will see this car again soon. Don't think just because, oh, I got it running, now I'm gonna forget about it. The fact that it's running now is gonna make me really wanna get that interior together and really drive this thing around. I'm really interested to see what it's gonna do, like gas mileage wise, because I've been driving it around. I took it to Jersey. As of right now, I probably have like about 50 miles on it. The gas gauge, it's not going down nearly as quickly as it does in the Camaro, so that's always nice. But we'll definitely do a fuel economy test at some point. But next thing you're gonna probably see is we're gonna get back on the Escalade. I should have those heads back soon, and we'll get that thing up and running. Then we're gonna bounce back on this and probably start working on the T-top seals. And eventually we'll get to subframe connectors and the interior, but one video at a time.